crafty friends, this is Sweta, and today I'm bringing a card using the Die of the Month Club for April, which is Fancy Foliage, and I'm using it with some Chroma Mists to make a watercolor rainbow panel, and let's get started. I have a panel of cold press watercolor paper here, and it is larger than what I need, but I just want to have that extra bit of paper that I can trim down once it is dry. So I'm going to first spray or wet it with a distress sprayer, and let's start with the first color, which is yellow orange, followed by candy apple red, and then some pink. Next is the lilac purple, followed by cobalt blue, some turquoise, and finally some leaf green and yellow green. I'm quickly going to dry this panel with the heat tool. While I was doing that, I realized there was enough color to make a second panel, so I decided to do some ink smooshing, and I laid over another panel, and it turned out gorgeous. I noticed some extra color over at the edges, so I decided to just dab it with a paper towel. With the two panels dried, I decided to use one to make a slimline panel for the card, and with the other I was gonna cut the foliage from it. So off camera I cut it, and I also assembled it because it took a little while to assemble all the tiny pieces of the die cuts together. And here I'm also using the word bloom from the Spring Sayings that was released earlier. And I have enough panel left to use it for another time. And I just love the delicate foliage here. And I also cut out some rectangular die cut frames from it's called the Farmhouse Grain in white, and has a beautiful texture like wood. I cut the word bloom twice more from just white cardstock, so I could layer up a little bit. And I also wanted to offset it slightly so that the word in blue, the bloom in blue, would stand out a little more. Moving on to the card panel and our sentiment, I'm using the sentiment called Live Life in Full Bloom, but I want to use the word, the die cut word bloom instead of what's on the sentiment. So here's a way to do it. Once you know where it goes, I just treated the surface with anti-static powder since I was going to heat emboss the sentiment. So I'm using some embossing ink. But before I ink up my sentiment, I'm going to cover the bottom part of it where the word bloom is with a washi tape. You want to make sure that you get the edges, but leave the other letters intact so that it stems properly. Now we can ink it up as normal, and then just before putting it to the paper, we're going to remove the washi tape, and I'm going to use some white alabaster embossing powder here. Once that is done, I'm ready to glue my panel down to my slimline base. And moving on, I'm going to glue down the die cuts now. Once I glue the foliage to the white panels, I'm going to put some double-sided foam tape on the back to give it some dimension before I put them onto the final card. While I was putting it together, I thought, oh, I want some splatter, so I decided to use the shimmer mist in pearl to add some splatter over the top. And finally, I'm just going to adhere down the panels that already have the foam tape behind on them ready to go. I'm just going to use my T-ruler just to make sure I'm in the right position before I actually press down on them. Just helps to line them up properly. And of course, finally some gems to go over the top. And that finishes the card for today. I hope you like it and you'll give this video a thumbs up. Links to the products are listed below. Thank you and have a great day.